Matt Gardner and James Cooper, backed by popular demand. So, interesting festival so far. I think it's safe to say that the bookies will be pretty happy with the way things have gone. No book Benny beat first day, Defi Tiger beat yesterday. So, I think today's the day where we really need to strike back as punters. So, with that in mind, Matt, who is your banker of the day?
Aptly hard for me. I respect Min fully, but it's just one of those where the more I look at it, the more convinced I am that this horse is going to win.
Okay. Coops, do you agree or disagree?
With Applitard, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought last year's winning performance in a handicap was one of the easiest handicap wins I've ever seen. I think. Yeah. Certainly one of the easiest I've ever seen at Cheltenham. Min has got the best form on offer. I think you'd have to say. He's very, very best. But he's fallen short of previous festivals, hasn't he, as well? So I can see your angle. Obviously, of course, I can. Up and come. Well, we don't know Applitard's limit either. So yeah, I'd certainly be with Applitard as well.
Yeah. Okay. What about your banker?
Yes, a bit. I mean, I've spectacularly missed the price with this, but I really do like Concertista in the Mayor's Novice. Unfortunately, I think there was some double figures about yesterday. Partly one of the reasons I'd imagine was Black Tears running a screamer in the Coral Cup off 144 or something along those lines. She ran a massive race in this race last year, huge absence, off the back of huge absence. Her last run was eye-catching in a race that's working out. I'm against the favourite, Manila Melody. I just think, even if it's going to be a thorough test, I think she needs 2.5 miles, maybe even slightly further in time as well. So I can see her coming off the bridle, and I just think it's a race where you can sort of discount half the field almost. It's not good enough. So I've missed the price disappointingly, but I think Concertista is a knocking bet actually in that race.
Yeah. Okay. Decided that. So we're gonna go for the lays now. Coops, we'll start with you. Who are you not with today?
I almost put Min up just to go alongside Matt, but I'm just happy just to probably back up Lutard. The final race of the day, the amateur race, I'm against Le Broil. I personally don't think he's been shaping up as well as some in this office this season. I think he's an out and out slugger. I think he's a Grand National type. I think it is an absolute thorough test. I've had a quick look at this race. I don't think they're going to go that hard actually, believe it or not. For an amateur rider race, normally you're thinking they will go hard, but I'm not sure there's that many front runners in the race. The King's Rick was the only out and out front runner I could see in the race. I just think even if he does go close, I think he's short. He'll be outpaced at some point. It'll look like he's struggling. So I think at the very worst, given he's about 11-2 now, at the very worst, I think you'll be able to lay in now and back him at 12-14 to 1 in running.
Okay.
I just don't think he's been shaping that well. I don't think he travels that well, and I think you'd be in a position where we'd be in a nice position halfway around, put it that way, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Matt, your lay?
It's probably an unpopular opinion, I think, particularly with you, I know. But Faheen for me, I think he's 12, 3 starts over fences, 2 of which he's just not convinced with his jumping. You think back to his days over hurdles, he was pretty clumsy throughout, really, and even when he was winning as a novice and champion hurdles and all that sort of stuff. And I think you have to separate the Faheen now from the horse that was tearing it up over hurdles.
Okay, yeah, take him on his merit.
Yeah,
over fences.
He was a mid 170s hurdler. He's a 160 chaser at the moment, and that's with a pretty positive reading of his last win. I think that's potentially quite generous as well. That's probably, I think, his maximum these days, and that's not even factoring in potential jumping errors. The fact that if he's looking like he's beat, they're not gonna be hard at him thinking now to look after him a bit. And he's around 100 to 30 this morning. Given what can happen with these Mullins horses, there's a good chance he might go 5-2, 2-1 if they really steam into him. And at that price, I'm very much against it.
Yeah, okay, I can see. I don't necessarily think he's the best horse by a mile. I've got such a soft spot for him. I just love him so much. I think if he wins, it'll take the roof off today.
Oh, yeah, I think popular winner of the festival.
Yeah,
newspapers everywhere, aren't
there? Yeah. So I'd love to see him win, but yeah, okay, I can see your point. His jumping is in question, so yeah, okay. So an outsider who's caught your eye at a big price.
Well, yeah, it fits in nicely with this because I'm with Matt a little bit in that I am against sort of certainly the first couple in the betting anyway, Faheen and Sam Crow. I don't think they're particularly attractive betting propositions personally.
Just goes Sam Crow. He's had another breathing up, and that I think is 2, isn't it?
It's his second one. He had one before the Chase David, didn't he? That's right.
And breathing ups, I mean, like they can help. We all think back to those Nichols days, don't we? Where when a big race always had a breathing up and stuff. But we see it now. It's declared so many times on average horses, and they just don't help. And I kind of feel like there might be a more deeply rooted problem with Sam Crow.
Yeah, I think it's desperation stakes as I think it's like, we've got to try something now. Because we're in danger of completely losing the plot, aren't we? So I'm massively I'm against Sam Crow. There's obviously an engine there if they've got him right, but not for me. Faheen, I was sort of on the fence. He's shortened up as well, so I could certainly see that. So I've actually landed on Annie Mack as a each way play in the race. She's got a lot to find. She's just won 3 small field races, but I think the crucial point with her is she's upwardly mobile. She has at least won all of those races. No problem with the big field. She won that EBF final over hurdles. Very impressive that day. She's a strong stay at this sort of trip. If she's ridden quite quietly, sort of picking up the pieces maybe. But I thought at 25 to 1, the mare's allowance gives her a little bit of a chance. She's got £10 to find on our figures, which isn't insurmountable. Jumping's good. 25 to 1 I think makes quite, or 22 I think makes quite a bit of each way appeal in a race where you can pick holes in 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Matt.
I've got a couple at prices. Well, you mentioned trying to strike back. This is the day that I often find myself having loads of bets at big prices, and they rarely come off. Yeah. They are quite exciting before the race. I think Dingo Dollar in the handicap hurdle. He's around sort of 50s. His form is just as good over hurdles as it is over fences. He's been 3rd and 5th in a Hennessy. So the rough and tumble of this sort of race isn't going to be a problem for him. Big field. And whether he's quite well enough treated to win, I don't know. He might be vulnerable to a more sort of less exposed horse. But I do think there's a little bit of an air of untapped potential with him still. He maybe just hasn't quite kicked on as they thought earlier in his career. And I sort of expected him to be close to the 20s mark. I think the market's probably underestimating how good he is over hurdles. And the other one, another handicap, Mr. Whittaker, who I'm surprised is mid-20s, sort of 25 there or thereabouts. He won the Close Brothers a couple of seasons ago. Was quite offensive for the Ultima last season when he clouted one early, and that was sort of game over for him. Didn't relish the stamina test in the Cotswold. They pulled him up, and that was back in January. He's got a good record fresh, so the absence since then isn't a problem for me. And again, a horse that has all the ingredients to win. We know that he can win these big field handicap chases around Cheltenham, and that counts for plenty. Yep.
Okay, so there are your winners. So let's move on. We touched on it earlier. Briefly discussed the Ryanair. I know you've got quite strong opinions about it, Matt. So I'll let you kick off. How do you see this race unfolding, and who's going to win?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I'm really strong on Appletard. Coops mentioned his win. That was in the race that we just talked about, the Close Brothers race. Yeah, and you think back to that race, and I don't think you'd be counting on one hand the number of horses that jump and travel that well around Cheltenham. Yeah, he absolutely bombed through there. He was brilliant. And I think what he's done this year and this season in 2 starts, kept to 2 miles, has been despite the trip. And I think, lots of people have mentioned the pace angles, Min and Frodon likely to take each other on. And I don't really buy into this strong pace and have a horse dropped out and sort of pick up the pieces type thing. We've seen already that kind of doesn't really work. You think in the Arkle, those 2, they went at strong pace, but the first 2 were prominent throughout. Champion Hurdle, not that many involved off a strong gallop. But I think Appletard is the sort of horse that can travel at a really good gallop, and he can sit in 3rd, 4th, something like that.
Oh yeah.
And he's just poised to strike, isn't he? Min is a top-notch performer, isn't he? I think he's produced 7 time figures of 160 or higher, which is no mean feat. You know, he's operating at a really high level, but he's 9. He's been to 3 festivals, I think, bumped into RTO twice. He's as good as he is, whereas Applutard is that upwardly mobile up-and-comer that we haven't seen the best of yet, and I just think he's probably the best horse in this race. We just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, you concur?
Yeah, I'm with that. I like Applutard. I mean, I think Frodon's nailed on to try and make all the running, but I think they could change tactics slightly with him. I don't know. They might just drop in second or third, but I think he's such a fluent traveller, good jumper, Applutard. I could keep putting him anywhere in the race. That's the beauty of a horse like that. So yeah, as stated earlier, I'm with Matt on.
Yeah, I think Min probably deserves a festival winner, but I think he's probably going to come up short again today. Okay, so let's move on to the status. So we need to talk about Paisley Park a little bit. How good do you think he can be? What are we talking here? Are we talking big bucks, Barracuda?
Well, he's a 167 with the P, obviously, because he's been winning races quite easily, to be honest with you. Yeah, we've seen before in the Staying division you can rack up big winning sequences. I think he's, if I'm right, I think big bucks 170. I think he's got sort of £9 to go before you can start saying he's up to big bucks level. But just the nature of the Staying division, you know, every time you come up against maybe a promising horse, they'll go over fences or something else will change. So I think it's just that he's right to really run up a sequence. I think he'll win today. It's 4 to 6 and something like 8 to 11 or something along those lines. So could he win this race for the next 2 years? Certainly. Could he raise his game by another £9? I'm not sure about that. But I think this season he's as good as ever. I mean, people said his workman-like last time, but he just got the job done, didn't he? And with a horse like that, you know, he does. I mean, flat spot might be slightly overstating it, but he is, you know, sometimes just takes a little while just to get organised and get going. But he's got a bit of a way to go to get to big bucks, but the profile is obviously all positive for him.
Yeah, I think he's. I don't want to use the sort of term old-fashioned, but he is a bit more. He's a bit more Ingalls-Drever-esque, isn't he, than he is big bucks in the way that he goes about it.
Yeah.
And I think obviously we are on the new course now, aren't we, instead of the old course. It's more of a stamina test over hurdles. They get racing quite a long way out, and that obviously does suit him. I think the only way that you get Paisley Park beat is if all the other jockeys get together and try and stage a coup and sort of really steady it up and do him for a turn of foot. But the nature of the track in this race is that from 2 out, well, you've got 2 flights in 6 furlongs, in the last 6 furlongs, and they get racing a long way from home. Does make it a real stamina test. I think City Island can run well in opposition. That would be the horse that I'd be most keen on. I'm not saying he can beat Paisley Park, but you think back to he won the Byron Bingham last year, beating Champ. Looked like he had a massive engine to do that.
He did,
It's not really worked out for him over fences, but back over hurdles, they have given him a breathing up. I think he's the sort of horse that will be ridden to sort of sneak into it a little bit. Obviously, all of his form is 2.5 miles, so he can travel. And I think he might be the sort of horse that will be on the bridle when Paisley Park comes off it. Whether he finds as much, I don't think many horses find as much as Paisley Park does. That's the key point. But I can see him definitely running a big race. And in terms of how high Paisley Park can rate, it's almost the case of the horses that run up against him, isn't it? And
what if he sort of beats the same horses over time and time again? He's
like
going to struggle to attain the one.
Yeah, the hurdles division, that can happen, can't it?
Can happen, certainly.
He is an outstanding hurdler, and the way that he goes about it just makes it difficult for other horses to beat him.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So let's move on to jockeys. Matt, you've picked up an interesting jockey booking today, right?
Yeah, there's a £7 claimer called Owen Walsh, who I think is based with Noel Mead. He rode his first winner in May last year, and he rode probably his biggest winner at the weekend in the Leinster National for Noel Mead. He's riding. Well, he's got 2 rides today: 2A Permy in the handicap hurdle and Snow Falcon in the handicap chase. I think Snow Falcon's probably got the better chance. He's a dual Grade 2 winner over fences. His last handicap win over fences came off 148. He's 157 today. Obviously, the £7 claim is going to ease that burden. Plenty of form in big field handicaps. Again, whether he's well enough treated, I don't know. But Owen Walsh is definitely definitely a claimer to have on the radar. I think.
Is he stealing 7 or is it?
I think he definitely looks good for it. Yeah, and I think just looking this morning, and some Timeform subscribers might know the EPF profiles of jockeys, that sort of thing, and he definitely looks like a rider that is quite positive, sort of 2s and 3s, lots on the EPFs, and I definitely like to see that with claimers rather than them being dropped out. So I think he definitely looks good for £7 and probably even £5 when he drops. I think he's ridden 15, 16 winners so far, so plenty of experience.
Good one to look out for there. Yeah. Okay. So Coops, back by popular demand, Pressbury Cup.
Well, yeah. I'm in a bit of trouble in the bet actually.
Right.
As is the way with like a 28 race festival, the problem you get is if you get a French winner, it really does change the dynamic of this. I had the tie on side, I had Ireland on side, but now it's going to be. I don't think there's barely even a runner from abroad in the next 2 days. So the tie is that's out now. It's going to be a 14, 13 or 15, 12, whatever now. So the tie is 100 to 1 plus. That's out. I'm now 4 to 6 Britain, 6 to 4 Ireland.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Britain are favourite now. 4 to 6 Britain, 6 to 4. Sorry, 4 to 6 Britain, 6 to 4 Ireland. Obviously the one clear at the moment. In terms of strength, I thought Ireland had slightly better of it Friday, hopefully, but could be a couple behind going into, or 3 behind. So in terms of me personally, I need a few Irish winners early, quickly today, really, to give myself a chance of having a remotely green book. I think.
Okay.
Struggling a bit.
Yeah. Okay. We'll keep an eye on that. Is there anything else you want to chat about from today's racing?
I think we've covered most of it. A couple of big prices that we've touched on, Dingo Dollars and Mr. Whittaker, and I think we're both pretty strong on Aflutard, aren't we? And
both strong on Aflutard,
that's come out well from this,
And I think in race 1 you could do worse than take on the head of the market, and if you might fancy something else in the race. I thought Reserve Tank might be semi-interesting, but Nanny Mac, and see where we go in that first race. I think it's got the potential for me anyway to be a bit of a boil over maybe, so get a few each way maybe and take it from there.
Good. Well, I'll be cheering on Faheen even if no one else is. So. Okay, I think that's about it then. If you have any questions for tomorrow's panel, get in touch on Facebook or Twitter. But from us, that's all. Hopefully see you again tomorrow.